Hello, I'm Mr. Pibbles, and welcome back to our Challenge Park series here in Planet Coaster 2. Now you join me where we left off last episode in our Tiger Garden with our Ferris wheel. Obviously this is one of the things that we did last episode, and the other thing that we did is right over here in our lovely set of teacups here that are sitting in the middle of all of these Roman ruins. Now I've gone away off camera and I've just added a few more little bits around just to really add to the feel of this whole area. And you might have noticed from the get-go that today we are starting something new over here. As part of this, we are building a roller coaster and a wooden coaster and a lovely little train, which we will get into right about now. Roll that time lapse. Yes, hello, and welcome to the time-lapse for today's episode. And as per usual, I will be your host. Now, we've got some quite exciting stuff today, as you can see, and as you will already be aware, we are starting a brand new roller coaster. And this is quite an interesting one, because this is the park's historic woody. I've always wanted sort of to have a wooden roller coaster in the Pibbleville Family Fun Park, and now we actually kind of get in and actually get to do it. So I am so happy with this, and alongside that, it also means we're adding a brand new roller coaster, which we do sorely need. We have sorely needed a new kind of big attraction, and I think kind of coming in from a historical standpoint just works so well for an attraction like this. And obviously over the last couple of episodes, I've been working on more historic areas of this park, such as the historic gardens and the Ferris wheel and all that. And I won't bore you again with more and more kind of history of this place, because we don't need much for this project. All you really need to know for this is a wooden roller coaster, and it is the third iteration of it that was put on this site, and at the time of it, at the time of coming into this park, kind of from the modern day, this ride will be about 90 years old, and that is all we need to really know to kind of get on top of what it is. So, where is it we're going? Well, the whole idea behind this is that is this wooden coaster that has existed for many number of years, and its original purpose was as this the scenic railway. I know that's how a lot of wooden roller coasters started off. They started off as life as this quote-unquote scenic railway that just took guests around, and that is what I believe this started as. And it took people down to this lovely little sort of geological feature here. I'm imagining this is sort of some sort of spring, and it is here that it took guests out to. And why am I kind of doing it in this way? Well, I just really wanted to have this sort of big wooden roller coaster, because I've always enjoyed them, and I thought actually kind of I think smaller sort of family owned parks in the UK or that sort of thing, sort of older parks, you think wooden roller coasters, sort of you think your Blackpool Pleasure Beach, Oakwood before it closed down, all of that. That is sort of the vibe we're going for with this, which I'm really happy with how this turns out. And yes, it is all sort of this product of sort of, well, this specific version post Victorian ingenuity, but it's a product of the Victorians. Who could have guessed that? But yeah, and so the way that we're going about this is sort of I'm building bits, and then I'm smoothing it all out, and then I'm going kind of and adding more. And it is kind of a bit of a process, this. As you'll know, throughout this series, I have always said I am not a coaster builder. I am not someone who kind of is good at building coasters. I'm just hoping that slowly I am getting better as I'm building this, and I think the further I get on with this park, kind of the more that I find that I am getting better at it. So there we go, and I'm trying to include all of sort of the classic elements you'd find on something like this. So I've got a number of helixes, which actually I don't think stay around too long, just because of kind of speed and all of that. And then alongside that, there is also things like the bunny hills that I've got, the double ups and the double downs, and what can I say, it's just quite a nice kind of chance to come in and try something that I haven't exactly tried out before. So as I say, you can see me here sticking in a double down that works quite effectively for kind of the purposes of what I wanted it to do. And yeah, as you can see, there is that helix there at the start. I will say that does ultimately get axed because of sort of excitement. I'm trying to keep it really sort of in the green, and it does stay towards the green for the majority of this ride, which I do enjoy. There are just a few bits where it kind of tapers off, and that ultimately results in it not being as high as I wanted it to be, but there we go. And as I say, you can see me here sort of trying to come up with sort of methods and ways of trying to just get it to complete the layout without stopping. This is one of the big challenges that I face. Is I'm not great at this, so yeah, it is very much a process with this, but I can't complain too much. I am really enjoying this, and as I say, as you can see, here are some bunny hills and a little double up at the end, which is quite fun. And you can see it here just slowly going through the layout. I mean, I say slowly. Very much slowly, because, you know, we are only just cresting hills at this speed, and we are barely making it to the end. So, ultimately, we need to get rid of bits that, you know, kill the speed, which means we are shortening the layout a little bit, but I think it is for the best. So, the first bit to go, obviously, is that bit at the start that we've just axed, and I think actually with the way that it's done here now, I think that feels a lot more intense, a lot more fast, and yeah, it's going through all of that at about 35 miles an hour, which is good. As I say, you're sort of going that bit down by the creek, the spring, at about 50, which is good, and it means that you get to the end here and you are sitting at about 20 miles an hour, which ain't too bad, because we'll go into some breaks and then go into a block break section. Yeah, so there we go, smoothing it all out. One can't complain too much. It is a really nice Woody. It does have the necessary jankiness that one would expect from a wooden coaster, but I also think it's smooth enough to sort of feel nice. Let me just smooth that out, because that corner was not doing what I wanted it to do. But there we go. And as I say, what is it that I can say more about kind of coming in and doing this? Obviously, my big inspirations for this were sort of the Big Dipper and Grand National over at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, because, you know, I am a fan of how they work, and I am and always have been like a fan of wooden coasters. Another one kind of note to me that comes to mind is Tornado Zeus at Park Asterix. I am a really big fan of that, and I think it was my first wooden coaster, actually, from memory. I remember waiting in 2 hours in line for it when I was about 10, and it was just a magical experience. But then that's what you get from a wooden coaster. But yeah, it is all fun stuff. Now, obviously we are kind of getting towards update 8, I believe, is the one that they've just announced. As I say, from the day of this video going out, I believe there'll be a couple of days, and then the update will be out, and I will be doing a little bit of a winter overlay to a couple of bits here and there, mostly as a way of sort of trying out this new snow, and who knows, I might actually start turning on weather features for this park, just because I think it might be quite nice to come in and actually just give it a go of sort of playing around with the weather, and especially the snow, and I really want to sort of come and do something festive in this park, because I don't want to recycle what I did for Halloween with the 13 episode mini park series, and as much as I'd like to do it again, I just don't have the time to do it, or something similar for Christmas. So instead we are going to be kind of putting a couple of festive things in here, seeing how the park looks with snow and all of that, and there is our cut in the footage. I just had a couple of bits that I needed to work out, just smoothing out here and there everything for the park. And you might notice that there is now another ride included in the bumper here. That was always intended to be there. I just thought it would be more exciting to do that off camera and then kind of come in and do some building here. So what is that? That is a miniature railway, because obviously, as I mentioned earlier, this all started as a scenic railway, and what I'm thinking is, sort of when that went, people went, but we like the scenic railway, so they went, okay, let's build a scenic railway, and they built this miniature railway, and the rest is history. So yeah, that is basically all that you missed, and I actually think it's a really nice little ride. It has some nice little interactions with the coaster, and in terms of the coaster, it's just been smoothed out. Things have been sorted here and there, and as I say, you can see me here kind of getting in the start and the end, and it just all looks quite nice now, which I cannot complain about at all. So what are we doing sort of for the station and the area surrounding this? Well, we are building a Roman villa. As you will know, in the previous episode, we spoke sort of heavily about how this whole place is, well, a Roman villa, and kind of that is the idea that I went about for this. In the sort of this whole section would have been built as a quote-unquote reconstruction of the historic Roman villa that sat on the site, and then, well, the rest is history. They sort of built this, and then it has remained as the sort of source of all of this since, and that is sort of where this park sits, is sort of having this miniature Roman area, with the teacups outside in the ruins, which would have been a product of the 60s, obviously with the first set of teacups being the Mad Hatter's teacups at Disneyland, and then other places following suit, such as this one. But then there's also the two little rides down here with the scenic railway, and this are, well, I can tell you the name of it now. It is the Roman Racers. And what I'm thinking is, kind of the idea is that it was always meant to be this this sort of dueling coaster that kind of they built, and then they hit financial troubles. They sold off the other sort of half of the coaster, and now you're left with only one, which a bit sad, but there we go. And yes, you can see me here sort of trying to get this queue line in. What I wanted this to feel like, in essence, was Hex from Alton Towers, in the idea that you're sort of going through these ruins as sort of the queue line and the lead up to the ride. And I know this isn't a Vekoma Madhouse. I really wish we had something of that nature in the game. That would have been really cool, but instead, sort of what we've got here then instead is this sort of is this villa that you go through and that you sort of lead it. Well, you queue through and then you go through for the end of the ride. And I just really like this. I think it's a really fun sort of place to queue through. and I am actually really proud of how this all turns out in the end, so I am in no position to complain. But yes, so as you can see, we've got these towers in the corners. These have all been inspired by, well, this has all been inspired by sort of historic British Roman villa ruins that sort of you see around now. And the way that these work usually is that there's this courtyard in the middle, and sort of that what very much was the idea for this, in that, you know, there is this courtyard, we will have like gardens and stuff in here, and then we'll be left in a situation where we just go, okay, so this is that. You can see me here, I'm changing my thing back to meters because it's just easier. I prefer things in meters because it's easier to count. I only changed it to feet to get the height for the Woody, and there we go. So, yeah, this is all inspired by historic British Roman ruins, and I actually just really, really like the way that this turns out as a queue line. It is rather fun stuff. You can see me struggling, kind of going, okay, how do I actually make this work without sort of going through everything? And I think the way that this turns out is quite fun. I need to theme up the middle of here, but the idea is that, you know, I'll stick some sort of like hand railing around it and all, and yeah, that is where this stands, and that is the queue line, which is quite fun. So where are we going with this park next? So obviously, once we're done with this episode, there'll be a little bit of theming to do around this after this episode, and then we will be done with this sort of gardens and ruins area. So what next? Well, I'm thinking we might do something a little bit fairy tale, something a little bit western, and then ultimately that'll be sort of where we sit with the end of this whole park, and then I might go away for a couple of sort of days and sort of build up the infrastructure around this. Like I have said, sort of there is a history, so I might as well make the history matter. And yeah, but we are slowly and surely trudging towards the end of the series now. But we are not over yet, because we've still got plenty of space, we've still got plenty of things to come, so do not be switching off just yet, because I have a lot of stuff in mind. And then where do we go next? Well, I have always said that I have interest in doing a studios style park on this channel, and that is something that I actually really want to do, so I think that will be my next project, sort of bringing in these real world IPs as a way of sort of theming up the park and doing something slightly different, and also doing something a bit more high budget than everything we have seen within this park. Which means we're going high theming, we're going high intensity, we're doing all of this, all of that, and I am actually really excited for it, because I have been thinking, I have ideas, I have all of this, all of that, so I hope that you would stick around for that once we get there, which should be quite fun. But obviously, before we get there, we have to finish this, and I've gone for some really sort of nice architecture here. I've gone for a nice mix between the rough brick for sort of the base of these buildings, and then matching that with the lime plaster wall set. The only downside of which being that I don't know why the arch isn't working for me. It's always in sort of a red or a blue, but it never wants to be the colour I want it to be, which is annoying. But I will live. And then we are sticking these market roofs from the mythology set all over here. And I just think it works so well for what it is. And I think this is what really sort of makes this pop. And obviously, as outside this episode, I have gone away, and I have sort of completed a lot of the work on this, just because, it's not necessarily fun seeing me put in all of the, little details. So, you just want to see me, well, I'm making a broad overgeneralization here, but it is much more exciting kind of seeing someone build sort of all these rides and all of these interesting things, and instead of just theming up stuff. But if you do want to see me do more of that theming up and stuff, then please let me know. I can add more episodes and stuff of this in as sort of like a theming process. But ultimately, I do really like the way that this all turns out. And the other thing that I've done outside of this episode is I have themed up the themed up the ride itself. And not only that, but I have also themed up the train cars, and I really like the way that they look. It's just a really nice kind of way to come in and sort of do stuff with the mythology pack, which I don't usually do stuff with. I did have a massive park project that I was working on that I might return to at some point, called Emprise Park, and that was really my first foray into the mythology stuff, and I did this really nice area, quite small, but it was quite fun. It was called Episopolis, and it was all based on sort of your Greek epics, so specifically the Iliad and the Odyssey. And so sort of you had all of these different things with the mythology set, which was quite fun. I even had a Trojan horse, and I had a massive dark ride inspired by Valhalla at Blackpool Pleasure Beach that was themed to the Odyssey, which I really, really liked. So if you do want to if you do want me to do sort of any park spotlights or anything like that in the future, sort of taking you into past projects and going, well, this is that, let's have a look at it, because it was a really fun project as well, and it's one that I look back at fondly because it also had such joys as my steampunk themed area, Copperberg, and the other area that I had just completed really when I got to sort of starting this project and leaving the other one for a few was a lovely circus themed area, which was just after the Sorcery Pack came out, to be fair, because it was my first real use of the motorbike and sidecar coaster, which I had a lot of fun with. But we are getting towards the end of this time-lapse segment, so I will have to say goodbye and hope that you like, subscribe, comment, and I'll tell you that now before he tells you in real time. Okay, welcome back to real time. Yes, so this is everything we've done today. So we have built this wonderful new wooden coaster, the Roman Racers, that now lives in our park here. And as well as that, we also have the ever so wonderful scenic railway, which I completed off camera. And we have now the start of this, our lovely Roman villa, that is sort of the basis for where all of this sits. So if you have enjoyed this episode, then please give me a like, give me a comment, possibly even a subscribe if I'm lucky, and I will see you in the next episode. Ta-ta! Roll that outro.